Hi, welcome to Audio Story House. The story I'm going to share today is about how my boyfriend hugged another woman in front of me, and I accepted a confession from a wealthy man. Alice's dream wedding dress was finally ready, her mood as bright as spring, her hands clutching the carefully selected photo of the gown. She wanted to share this news with Andrew. They could finally have their wedding. As Alice approached the cafe below Andrew's company building, her steps slowed. She saw Andrew sitting in the outdoor area of the cafe, chatting with his friend Neil. Alice thought to surprise him, sneaking up quietly and standing in a corner hard to spot, yet she overheard. "Lately, how are things with you and Alice? You've been going out for drinks with beautiful women a lot." Neil seemed genuinely concerned. Andrew paused, then sighed softly. "To be honest, I'm having doubts." "Doubts? What about?" Neil sounded surprised. "It was great in the beginning. But as you know, over time," Andrew's voice grew heavier, "it feels a bit stale." Neil appeared to ponder before responding. "So, what do you plan to do?" "I don't know. I'm feeling very conflicted right now." Andrew's voice was filled with resignation. Hearing this, Alice felt a heavy blow to her heart, her once joyful and anticipatory mood instantly freezing. Andrew was indeed capable. After graduating, he and Neil started a business together. Through years of effort, their company gradually grew, and Andrew became a successful entrepreneur. Alice was immensely proud of Andrew's success. A person as outstanding as Andrew naturally attracted a lot of attention. Their relationship had its ups and downs, but they always chose each other in the end, coming back together. However, Alice's heart began to waver when she accidentally overheard Andrew and Neil's conversation outside the cafe. She started to doubt whether those rumors were just baseless. That evening, with a heart full of trepidation, Alice decided to seek out Andrew, wanting to hear the truth from him directly. But when she pushed open the door of the bar, searching for that familiar figure, her heart sank. In a corner of the bar, under dim lighting, Andrew was not alone. A woman sat beside him, their proximity unusually intimate, her head resting on Andrew's shoulder in a manner that seemed natural and cozy. Alice felt as if struck by a hammer. She could hardly believe her eyes. Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to calm down. She approached Andrew, who saw her but did not push away the woman snuggling up to him. The woman seemed indifferent to Alice's arrival, even with a hint of provocation in her gaze, chilling Alice to the core. "We should break up," Alice said, her voice calm. At that moment, Neil, sensing the awkward situation, nudged the woman aside and said to Andrew, "Look at this, Alice is upset, and you still don't say anything?" Andrew leaned back on the sofa casually, indifferent. "Don't bother with her. She's always like this. Suggests breaking up, then cools off in a few days and comes back as if nothing happened." Neil frowned, disapprovingly. "What kind of attitude is that? Alice isn't just anybody." Andrew interrupted him, carelessly. "Oh, so what if she comes? So what if she goes? That's how our relationship is, always back and forth." He turned to Alice, with a hint of challenge. "Isn't it, Alice? Isn't it you who always breaks up first and then comes back to me?" Her heart soaked in icy water, she responded coldly. "Andrew, you're wrong. This time it's different. I won't come back to you. It's really over." Andrew laughed it off, thinking Alice was just being dramatic. Okay, I get it. You'll change your mind in a few days." Alice took a deep breath, her resolve clear. "No, Andrew. Listen carefully, I'm serious this time. It's truly over." With those words, she turned and walked to the door, not looking back, closing it firmly behind her. Alice's steps were heavy as she walked home. When her gaze fell on the exquisite wedding dress delivered to her doorstep, the bitterness in her heart surged like a tide. She had been so looking forward to this dress, specially commissioned from a renowned designer. But now, it all seemed so laughable, so ironic. She took scissors from the kitchen. The wedding dress was cut into pieces, beyond repair. After cutting the dress, Alice's gaze fell on the elegant ring box. Without hesitation, she threw both the wedding ring and the dress into the trash bin. The next day, Alice took a leave from her company and drove to a seaside resort where her good friend Willow and other friends were enjoying a leisurely vacation. When Alice appeared at the hotel, Willow was exceptionally excited. "What, finally decided to leave Andrew aside and come here to enjoy yourself?" Willow teased Alice half-jokingly, wrapping an arm around her shoulder and leading her towards the beach. She took a deep breath. "I broke up with him. I hope it's for real this time. Honestly, Andrew is not worthy of you. Your family background, your personal qualifications, far exceed his." Alice's family was well known locally. They owned a chain of supermarkets spread across various cities with numerous franchisees, enjoying a very good economic condition. "You don't need to feel sad for someone like Andrew," Willow continued, her eyes twinkling with sincere concern. "Don't worry, I'll introduce someone much better to you, someone who will definitely make you forget that jerk." By the seaside, as the sea breeze gently blew, Alice's mood gradually brightened. At this moment, Alice could finally let go of her burdens and enjoy her own holiday time. Willow excitedly pulled Alice's hand, pointing to a man swimming in the sea. As the man walked out of the water, the sunlight reflected dazzlingly off his well-toned body, clearly indicating his regular fitness routine. "See that guy? His family is well off, and he's also a decent person, not a playboy at all, and he's currently single." Willow whispered to Alice, her voice filled with excitement and anticipation. The man approached them, and Willow introduced him. "This is my good friend Alice, here on vacation." "Hi, I'm Oliver." The man introduced himself with a warm and confident smile. Alice felt a bit dazed for a moment, feeling like she had seen this name and face somewhere before. Suddenly, it dawned on her, he was Andrew's business rival, whom she had seen at several business events. She had heard Andrew mention the competition between him and Oliver more than once. Their companies were in direct competition in the same industry, almost rivals. Yet, now that Oliver stood before her, she felt a completely different vibe from him. "It's you, I remember you." Alice tried to maintain politeness, smiling in response. Oliver seemed to recognize Alice as well, a flash of surprise in his eyes, which then turned even warmer. "Yes, I remember we've met at several meetings. It's a coincidence to see you here." Oliver's explanation made Alice realize some things while also stirring complex emotions within her. Alice and Oliver ended up discussing a proposal that both Alice and Andrew had put a lot of effort into, contemplating how to make their solar-powered electric vehicle project stand out in the fierce market competition. Alice clearly remembered that they had considered various approaches, aiming for the best balance between technological innovation and environmental benefits, yet neglecting the importance of cost control. Seeing the situation, Willow couldn't help but interject, breaking the silence, not wanting Oliver to have any misconceptions about Alice. "Don't worry, they've already broken up. Alice has also poured a lot of effort into this proposal." Oliver nodded in understanding, then continued to explain. "Indeed, Andrew's proposal was excellent in many aspects. The problem lies in the cost. Your design is very avant-garde, and the technical specifications are high, but cost control becomes crucial in the actual production process. My uncle happens to own a car manufacturing plant and has unique insights and practical experience in cost control. That's one of the reasons we could have an advantage in this competition. I see, Alice said softly, her voice tinged with a bit of regret. Oliver looked at Alice, his eyes showing a flicker of sympathy and understanding. We were also quite fortunate. Oliver and Alice sat on the terrace of the seaside hotel, with several colorful cocktails on the table in front of them. The night breeze gently swayed, bringing a cool feeling. Their conversation slowly shifted from work to memories of their student days. By the way, which university did you go to? Oliver asked curiously, gently swirling his drink in his hand, causing a slight ripple in the liquid. I went to a university. Alice responded, her voice carrying a hint of nostalgia. Really? I'm also from a university. Oliver exclaimed in surprise, appearing very excited. I studied engineering. Alice smiled slightly. I was in the business school. It seems we were alumni then, just never met on campus. That's really a coincidence, Oliver said with a laugh, seemingly very pleased by this unexpected discovery. Did you join any clubs or activities in school? Maybe we've actually met without realizing. Ah, the photography club. I have some friends there too, Oliver said excitedly. It seems our circles do overlap. We just never directly interacted before. Seeing how well Alice and Oliver were getting along, Willow chimed in with a laugh. Looks like I'm the third wheel here. You two continue, I'm heading out. After saying this, she stood up, waved at them, and left Oliver and Alice to continue their conversation. After Willow left, the conversation between the two became even more natural and relaxed. Under the influence of alcohol, their laughter increased, and the topics gradually shifted from college anecdotes to future aspirations and dreams. In the morning, Alice woke up in a strange room, thankfully still in her own clothes. She walked out of the room. Upon seeing Alice awake, Oliver immediately stood up, shut down his computer, and turned to face her with a look of concern and apology on his face. You drank a lot last night. I tried reaching Willow, but she didn't answer her phone. I didn't feel it was safe to let you go back alone, so I brought you back to my room, Oliver explained, his voice filled with sincerity. Alice felt a bit embarrassed but also grateful. I'm really sorry for the trouble, she said softly, avoiding Oliver's gaze. Oliver shook his head gently, indicating it was no bother. It's okay, I understand. You were having a good time last night and probably didn't realize how much you were drinking. Now that you're awake, come have some breakfast. I've ordered something for you, hope you'll like it. Alice looked at the breakfast laid out on the table, a plate of bacon and eggs with a cup of hot coffee, very tempting. She took a deep breath and then gave Oliver a grateful smile. Thank you, Oliver. You're very thoughtful. Oliver returned with a warm smile. No need to thank me, I'm just doing what should be done. Once you've eaten, if you feel better, I can drive you back, or if you need more rest, feel free to stay here. Alice sat down and began to eat her breakfast slowly, realizing how hungry she was. The awkwardness between them gradually dissipated, replaced by a subtle and warm atmosphere. In the evening, Alice was telling Willow about what happened the day before, mentioning how nice Oliver had been, a very humorous person. Willow said in a low, quick voice, "See, I told you, he's got something special for you." Oliver approached with an easy smile. You two seem to be having a great time. What secrets are you sharing? Willow immediately replied, winking at Oliver, we were saying thanks for taking care of our Alice yesterday. You know, Alice was so touched by what you did. Willow exaggerated a bit, trying to gauge Oliver's reaction. Alice's cheeks warmed up, and she quickly interrupted Willow. "Willow, don't make things up." She looked at Oliver nervously, worried her words might lead to a misunderstanding. Upon hearing this, Oliver's smile grew warmer as he looked directly into Alice's eyes, his tone sincere. "It's what should be done." Alice was moved by Oliver's direct and sincere attitude, shaking her head slightly. "No, I mean it. Thank you, Oliver." Oliver nodded, then turned to Willow, jokingly saying, "It looks like I need to be a gentleman more often to earn your praise." The atmosphere among the three was relaxed and cheerful. Willow's teasing and probing didn't seem to make Oliver uncomfortable. Instead, it made their relationship more natural and harmonious. As the holiday ended, Alice went back to work, ready for any encounter with Andrew. What needed to be faced should be faced. After all, she had made up her mind. The midday sunlight filtered through the tall glass windows onto the coffee shop floor, creating a cozy and lazy ambiance. Alice entered the coffee shop, her mood light and looking forward to enjoying a well-made cup of coffee. However, just as she was about to place her order, she heard a familiar voice. It was Andrew and Neil talking. Andrew's voice carried a hint of triumph. "See, I told you she would eventually come back to me." Neil agreed, "Just like you said." Alice didn't turn around, nor did she confront the two men. Instead, she continued forward to the counter and ordered a latte from the barista. Holding the freshly bought coffee, ready to leave the coffee shop. That's when Andrew suddenly stood up and quickly approached her, reaching out to grab her. His tone mixed with incredulous seriousness. "What, still mad at me?" "It's just another woman. Why are you so jealous?" Alice attempted to turn and leave, but Andrew wasn't about to let go that easily. He gripped her arm tighter, his eyes revealing confusion and urgency. "Alice, what do you mean by this?" Alice responded calmly, "We've already broken up. Please let go." At that moment, Oliver appeared, quickly moving to Alice's side and without hesitation, pulling her away from Andrew's grasp. Alice felt a bit of relief at Oliver's timely arrival, whispering, "Don't mind him, let's go." Seeing this, Andrew's emotions suddenly flared up, his voice filled with provocation and dissatisfaction. "What are you playing at, picking up some random guy to upset me?" Seeing this, Andrew's emotions suddenly became agitated, his voice carrying a tone of challenge and dissatisfaction. "What, are you trying to make me jealous by randomly picking up a guy?" Walking away, Alice turned to Oliver and said, "Thank you for helping me out." Oliver responded, "I was surprised to see you too. How about you treat me to dinner tonight? I know a new restaurant nearby." Alice didn't think much of it. "Sure. Send me the address. I'll find it." Alice smiled and said goodbye. Gently touching the rose in her hand, its petals exceptionally delicate under the light, Alice looked up at Oliver with a complex emotion in her eyes. She began softly, her voice mixed with hesitation and gratitude. "Really appreciate your kindness, Oliver. I've been through a lot recently and am a bit overwhelmed." Oliver looked at Alice tenderly, his gaze filled with understanding and patience. "I understand, you need time. I don't want to pressure you, I just want you to know that whatever you decide, I'll be here to support you." Alice felt Oliver's sincerity and smiled slightly. "Thank you, Oliver. I do need some time to sort out my feelings." The atmosphere lightened as they shared a smile. Oliver then said, "Let's not talk about this tonight. Come on, try the specialty of this restaurant. I've heard it's very good." During dinner, they discussed their hobbies, amusing work stories, and even their plans and dreams for the future. Alice found Oliver's company very comfortable. He was not only a successful entrepreneur but also an interesting, attentive, and charming man. By the end of the dinner, Alice knew she might be starting to accept Oliver, but she still wanted to give herself some time until she could be sure of her feelings. That day, Alice and Oliver attended a networking event, a place where they were bound to run into Andrew. Since their breakup, they hadn't had a direct conversation. As she was walking towards the restroom, Alice suddenly saw Andrew standing at the restroom door, seemingly waiting for her. Caught off guard, Alice mustered the courage to walk past him. Just then, Andrew spoke, his voice laced with undeniable emotion. "Didn't you want to get married? I've already picked out a wedding dress, from that designer you like." Alice stopped, a whirlwind of emotions inside her. She calmly replied, "When you get married, I'll be sure to congratulate you." Andrew, clearly not expecting such a response from Alice, showed a flash of anger. "How long are you going to keep this up?" 2 months is my limit. I already have a boyfriend." Hearing this, Andrew's expression changed, obviously caught off guard by Alice's response. Indeed, Willow decided to accept Oliver's pursuit. She could feel the sense of security Oliver provided her, something Andrew could never give. In the following months, Willow often saw Andrew at various events, each time with different women by his side, looking very pleased with himself. Willow also noticed another aspect. Andrew's company's performance didn't seem as shiny as it appeared on the surface. The performance had been declining year after year, and market share was gradually being eroded by competitors. Some projects suffered huge financial losses due to poor management and decision-making errors. Despite this, Andrew seemed not to focus on solving the company's problems, instead spending more time and energy on his personal life. Love always arrives quietly and can slip away just as silently.